I'm proud to present the following works of art. Instead of taking up a brush to canvas and featuring one subject or theme, Sherril has a vision, creating a series, a social statement, pitting values and principles against peer pressure.
Hi, I'm Sherril Royse.
I'm Steve Bishalia, and we're going to be talking about Sherril Royse's artwork today.
Right, Steve is going to ask me questions, and I will do the best I can to answer them, to give you an information on who I am, my background, where I'm going, and how I'm thinking about the paintings that we're going to be showing today.
Sherril has a art history major, and she's also studied under some of the finest artists in the mountains here in Mariposa County. You might want to talk about that.
Okay, I graduated from Fresno State University with a fine arts degree, minor in art history. I've always been interested in art, but until I got in college, I wasn't able to find a place to take classes. So I moved to Ahwahnee, California. Now I live in Mariposa, California, but it's up in the hills by Yosemite. And I ran into John Bruce, a great Western artist, who agreed to take me on as a private student. And I must have studied with him over 8 years or more. He passed away a few years ago, which was devastating to me. But I had no background in oils. I only took figure drawing. That's all I did for 4 years. I also took private lessons in Walnut Creek on figure drawing, but no oil background. So that's where John came in. And I painted for years off and on and had to work after I divorced. So I was slow in what I do. I had to take on reproduction commissions. I did a lot of those. We could go through that with the elderberry house, right?
Right.
I did the ceiling. I did reproductions out of, for Erna, for her villa, for her chateau. And then I did reproductions to pay for my divorce, which was great fun. And so my life has been painting for the last 30 years, slowly, but continuously, always. If I wasn't painting, I wasn't happy, and that's true today. I can only go maybe 4 or 5 days or a week, and then I just am distraught, and I go back to my studio. So it is my life. We're going to look today at the Icon series, where I finally ended up saying what I think and trying to get that through people through my painting. So this is where Steve comes in, because he really understands what I'm saying far better than I do. So which one should we start with? Number one?
Yeah, I think that one of the things we're going to have to explain as to what the Icon series is. It has to do with social critiques, and that's the medium that it basically fits into. And the first one is the bishop.
Yeah.
And the bishop is basically a painting of a religious bishop and then a Judith Lieberman bag.
In front of it. And what I was trying to say, what I'm really trying to say is somehow we've messed up what we look up to in our world, what we admire or what we believe in. And we've taken where we show ourselves, these Lieber bags are $7,000 and $8,000. And I put it in front of an icon. And that's why I call it an icon series, because at one time we looked up to these icons, and now if we have a Lieber bag, we're very impressed and we want to show that off. Same thing applies to the second icon with the horse. That's another Lieber bag. No, wait a minute. The second one is a cat, excuse me. That's another one with, who's that woman?
Theodorus.
Yeah.
Theodorus was the wife of the Emperor Justinian from Constantinople. And this is from a stained glass window in northern Italy that was commissioned by a Greek merchant. When that was, in those days, that was a great way of showing your wealth, but also there was something for the church at that time. And today we have the Judith Lieberman bags.
And then the third icon is the one with this incredible chopard necklace. It's very tiny, very small, but it sold for $1 million, and it caught my attention. It was in a magazine. I thought, oh my gosh, someone's paying $1 million for that. And so then I put a Bosch painting behind it showing greed, and then I put a Fabergé egg in to show, and as Steve can probably explain this one, I think it's one of your favorite paintings.
Yeah, it is.
So you go ahead and explain that one, because I just don't, I saw what I was thinking, but you went into depth with what you're thinking, and that's part of it. I want people to think when they look at these and ask themselves questions. And as you'll see as it goes on, I'm asking you to ask more. So go ahead.
Well, this painting is very involved. First of all, there's a chopard necklace. It's only about the size of your fist, has over 2,000 different stones and pearls in it. It sold for $1 million at auction for a wildlife auction one night in New York. It's being held up, and behind it is the Fabergé egg. The Fabergé eggs were done primarily for the Russian aristocracy, but this one was commissioned by the Vanderbilts, and it is a timepiece. It actually has a key that winds it up, and the numbers that you see there go around the egg, and the only jewel that makes it different from the other Fabergé eggs, which the other Fabergé eggs are very bejeweled. This one only has one jewel, and it's the head of the snake. And the tongue of the snake is what shows the time on it. And as the clock goes around, the tongue tells you what time it is. And the picture in back is a Bosch, and it is of the 7 deadly sins, and it is covetousness, to covet. And here the man has, the person who bought this chopard necklace, what he really covets is that Fabergé egg, because that is what shows, that's the difference between being rich and wealthy. And the kind of other subtle point in there is the thing that we all covet is time. And that's why I thought it was fascinating that Fabergé showed the time with the snake, which is usually associated with the devil. And so it's and in the background, Bosch is saying, you know, this is one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, I like that one. Thanks. Okay, then the next one is Barbie. And I was trying to explain Barbie just recently. I see our children being told that the only way that they can look right and be thought beautiful is to look like a plastic doll that's all out of proportion, not real, has no soul. She's just a doll. And so the thing that I was trying to get across here is how everyone is looking up, and the little girl that's stretching up is like, I found her. She's my new idol, my new God, which really irritates me, because that's not how I want our world to look at people. So that's Barbie. Do you have anything you want to add to Barbie?
Well, I think the other thing that on the Barbie is the glow, almost a halo on the top of her head.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the little girl that's accepted Barbie can't see the storm clouds on the other side of her, because Barbie's in between her. And with the Barbie icon, the Barbie life, there's that whole other part of life that goes with it. The clouds on the other side are somewhat lighter, but the clouds that the girl can't see on the other side of Barbie is very much darker and building. And so that's part of what Sherril's saying in that. And a very plain landscape that goes with it.
Right, and then we go to the one with the breast. I did a lot of research on that, and you can see there's a statue of Venus at the beginning, another one of Venus with her hand across her breast. Then there's the medieval time with the pushed up breast. Then there's the Playboy bunny with the tanned in bunny on their breast. The last one is a tattoo. And then the big breast behind has a cell phone in it. So what I'm saying here is men, and I'm not against that, but have always asked women to just be beautiful and expose their breast in some way. And we should come at the end of it, we're putting a cell phone in our breast, still showing them, but saying they're ours, and that's not all there is to us. There's more to us. And I probably didn't say that all right. Do you have anything?
No,
I have
think
notes and I
just
can't see
over
it.
time how it has changed. You know, some things stay the same, but some things have not changed. And so, you know, one way or the other through the ages, it's been that way.
Yeah, it's been that way. I love it. I love the concept of this painting. And I do have a better write-up, I think, somewhere of it. We'll go on to the next one, the selfie, which that background of that is the golden calf that comes from religion, where, what was that, where Moses went to the mountain and he left the Jews down below. They got confused, I guess, is that it? And then they built a golden calf and started worshiping that icon instead of God, a false icon in itself. So now I'm seeing everyone praying to their cell phones. That's what's happening in that painting. Even though that icon's behind them, they're not taking just a selfie of themselves, but they're ignoring, basically. It's more important to get their faces in there than just what's behind them, like what you'd normally go around and take a painting or a photo of. And you'll notice in that painting, I took it like Dolly's, one of Dolly's paintings, The Last Supper. He flipped the people. So the center person is straight on, one side's going one way, and then I flipped it and did it the other way. So that's just what I thought. It wasn't important to put a bunch of people, different people in there. I just wanted you to see that they were taking selfies. The one with the bags in it, I'm using women's bags to show the diversity in our social status. One woman's holding a bag that's worth, I think it was $65,000. And one's holding one that was maybe $7,000, and then $5,000, and then there's a backpack. You notice not any of them are interchanging anything. They're not looking at each other. They're not looking at the bag lady in the background. They're just separate, and they're there in their own social place. And instead of saying money on it, I did, like I said, I used the bags to explain what I was showing, how distant we are, how separated we are in society. We don't notice. So, and then that's also
well, that was
great.
a street scene also that you would see on the street in today's society, and also one of the great divides in our society today that is there in the background is also the stores, a storefront of very high-end jewelry stores in that. So it describes a street scene with the bags.
Yeah, I'll go back. I think I'm better looking at my notes. I said there are and always have been economic inequalities in our society. And so, once again, what concerned me is how people choose to spend their money. That's not my concern. But my concern is how they interact with each other and are so separate from each other. I'm not against any money at all or people having. I'm just concerned about how we don't interact with each other at all. We just ignore each other. We live in different spaces. So now I'll go to the last one. It's ultimate. I named it Ultimate Gray. And I'm going to do a quote from Pantone. Pantone's a paint company that puts out swatches of paint. And this does with the COVID epidemic. So Pantone announced that it had chosen 2 colors of the year 2021, Ultimate Gray and Illuminating, a combination of dull, familiar gray and the bright yellow of lemon skin. It's a choice from the past year of quarantine, a time in which we had to insulate ourselves from the world. The color gray evokes our collective experience over the past year. It's a depressing summation. During 9 months of quarantine, we've certainly arrived at the ultimate gray, a state of mind. Grayness means neither black nor white. It doesn't point toward an ending, just the continuation of an indefinite period. So the bright highlight yellow color is the light at the end of the tunnel, the sun shining. So what I did gray for all the people in a bas relief against the background, and it's in stone. If you look at it real close, it's like carved stone, like a bas relief. And then I had one figure come up, and she's all in yellow, dropping her mask. She can breathe again, and that's what that painting's about.
Historically, Sherril went in and looked at the different masks that were used throughout history, from the bubonic plague, the Black Plague, the pandemic, and all the way through masks that were used at different times when society had to go to this lockdown in order to beat a pandemic, the Spanish flu of 1918, and it was all the way rising up from that up to the present day, and are hopefully getting past this pandemic, which we've all had to deal with together.
So as you can see, everything I paint now in this series has to do basically with how society looks at itself and how we choose different icons to look up to. I'm working on one now that I just started it, and it has to do with neon signs and how we put our bodies and ourselves to look at neon signs like Google, Facebook, flashing all over. And it's like they've become our new gods. They've become our new icons. That's where we go to look for information and affirmation. So that's the next one, and I will probably continue with this series for a little bit longer.